I have no idea what to say right now because, guys, when I started making part one about this Netflix thing about the Avatar, 70% of it was all about the movie because I never thought it was going to be a failure. Like, I knew to myself there were going to be some flaws, but I wasn't expecting it to be a huge demented of so much mistakes, errors, or even like a fundamental failure is what I would almost have to put it in. Would have to be my source for what I saw last few days ago, because I watched the episode, and guys, even though my first part I only talked about the positives of what I felt like the movie of The Last Airbender was going to be good, and I thought the positives were going to be much better because maybe the Netflix version was going to be positive. Because, guys, the reason I'm talking about this is because I always think of this as the Western movies of the 1993 movie Wyatt Earp, and then the movie Tombstone after that. Because when you watch both movies, both perspectives, both have their own perspective rights. They both have the battles at the OK Corral. They have their own characters of Doc Holliday and Wyatt Earp into them. And that's what I enjoyed about watching the movie, the 2010 movie, and the cartoon show. And that's the main reason why I wanted to make this video, talk about the Netflix version, because I love talking about both perspectives, because I know the show, the Netflix version of the Avatar, was going to talk about a lot of stuff that they were going to improvise, but they didn't have to overdo it. Guys, when I watched the episode and people said that they were going to take place before Aang was going to be stuck in an iceberg, I just would have said to myself, come on, just do the same exact thing they did in the movie. Because at least Shyamalan, a horrible director and how bad he made the 2010 movie, at least he started it out the same way the cartoon film started out. That has to be another positive I have to give to M. Shyamalan. Not a good director. He did horrible in The Last Airbender, the movie, but at least the movie started that took place in the Southern Water Tribe. At least it started there. Why would you think that Netflix... Why did Netflix thought it was a good idea to start us off with Aang being involved in the air temple before his disappearance for the 100-Year War and this or that? And I just felt to myself, there are a lot of scenes in that film, and I don't know which is good and which is bad. But to be honest, guys, I didn't know, because I gotta watch the episode again, because I haven't watched it in 4 days now, or after making this video right now, since the 25th. So I gotta go back and watch again. But there were a couple weird problems. Like, there were times when you think when Aang was talking to everyone, or the time when he even said that he liked eating pie, he liked playing airball with his friends, he liked that, and that's what he likes to do. And I'm like, yeah, Aang, we know. Can you show us that? I think the cartoon version of the Avatar made it a lot more funnable, because Aang would tell Sokka and Katara about his past life, about what he did. Like, he had, like just like his friend that showed him when they had fun airbending pies landing on the master's heads. That was a fun moment to look at. And the sad moment when he actually realized that all his friends knew that he was the Avatar, and they didn't want to play airball with him no more because he was the Avatar. And that, like, at least they showed us that. Like, why not just show us that? But yet again, the flashbacks and the moments of that in the cartoon were a lot better than that. And guys, one of the dumbest moments I still couldn't understand, it's like, in the cartoon version, Aang gives, like, Aang, before Aang left the temple to be gone, he gives a note or a letter or one of those scroll things that he's gone. And before the masters or his friend or his father, I think it was, came in and realized he was gone, in the cartoon version, he pulls up the note, shocking of what he saw. I keep forgetting what his name is again, but that was a scene of Aang wanting to get out of there. But in the Netflix version, he tells Appa, we're going for a ride to cool his head off. Yes, cool your head off, but let's go to the storm because there's a typhoon coming to cool our head off. That would be a smart idea. And then suddenly he's in the water, and then he's frozen for 100 years. I don't know why Netflix thought that was a good idea. Those are the only negatives I still found, and that was the only problem I found. There's other scenes. Like, I love that the scene with Sokka and Katara are looking, and they see the huge ice and this or that, and it was so, oh man, it was great. It was great that their reactions were there. It was great this or that. Even though it's like the movie, like the Last Airbender of the movie showed the same thing. It's great that Katara and Sokka both had that reaction of seeing that unbelievable thing happen, this or that, almost like in the cartoon version. So at least both of those had positives into it. Yet again, I don't know what I can say about the rest of everything else because I gotta go back and look at the Netflix again because I really, really, really want to know more, because even when I saw the trailer, keep this in mind, when I saw the trailer and the flashbacks, this or that, and seeing how each character came, I'll be honest, guys, I don't know what to say about the trailer because the trailer seemed odd. Because not only they showed Prince Firelord Ozai in the screen, they show Azula in the scene of the trailer. It's like yes, you get to see that, but yet again, the thing is, we never got to saw Ozai's full creation until season 2 during the flashback when Zuko was dreaming and having those flashback moments of him being a child. And then we would get his full potential in season 3. So it's weird why M. Shyamalan and the Netflix version of them had to put in Ozai in the picture. I just found so much. Guys, I think that the project was wasted in episode 1 of Netflix, and I just feel like the movie itself brought in a much better opening because we get to see what the reaction was and this or that. I just think the flashbacks in the cartoon version made it a lot more watchable and better. You didn't have to overdo it when it came down to that. You didn't have to improvise. Like, I understand the improvisation of that, and guys, it is hard because I do feel like there's much more to it. And guys, here's something I like to say. You're making 8 45-minute episodes, but there's 4 directors that directed 2 episodes for each of the one season. 4 directors, and 4 of them have directed 2 episodes in season 1. When I heard about that about a month before the release, I found that to be really, really odd because something tells me that these directors, one of them might do a good job, but the others didn't. Because when you have that source, something's up. And to be honest, I just found that to be a problem. Yet again, looking at anything else about this, I would like to say that there's just some problems. I don't want to talk too much, guys. I don't want to talk too much about the Netflix version because it's only episode 1. And guys, I'll make another video in a couple weeks, probably in the middle of March, until each episode is released because I think talking about it just gives me headaches. But guys, as for the movie, it's not any way, shape, or form to be like it as Netflix isn't trying to make it any shape or form as the movie. But I have a feeling there's just some problems because, guys, what made the movie a failure and the show to be, the Netflix show of it to be a problem is that there's 20 episodes in season 1, 20 episodes in season 2, and actually 21 episodes in season 3. You're making 8 episodes in Netflix, and there's only 1 movie to make the full 20-episode season. The problem is, when you see both of their perspectives, you're seeing people go into one location to another. Like, oh, they pass Suki Island, they pass the Kyoshi Island, they pass King Boomy's place. It's like, and there's locations that they go to. They go to each location, even in problems, because when looking at it, guys, it was even a problem. I even heard a YouTuber at the time making this fact of him talking about this, of how it's a problem because you have Team Avatar going to Jet's hideout in one episode, and someone said that when they leave, they're going to go to another location minutes later. It's going to be in the Northern Air Temple. You know, those people flying gliders and such. And in hindsight, I kind of agree with him when he says that putting 4 or 3 episodes of cartoon episodes into one full episode of Netflix makes the world more smaller and compare. And he's right. He is right. Because I do feel like when you try to put everything into one little huge stink of it, that suffers a result, because you don't have to put all locations in every place. Like, you don't have to do every single location than what it is. I wish in hindsight there were times, because I wish they would have put other things like putting animals in the scene, because what made the cartoon really fun is that they had animals. It wasn't just Momo and Appa, they also had other characters. I barely seen less or some sort of characters of animals in the Netflix, but yet again, we're just starting, so who knows. It is weird that the animation and the style of Appa had problems, because yet again, I didn't know which was better. Was Appa in the movie a better creation than one in Netflix? We have to find that out, because there might be more to it. But yet again, when you see creations and characters coming at the time, yeah, it is interesting. Yet again, I really can't say that, because we're only in episode 1, and I do have to go back and watch again. But yet again, I think there should be more other things to it than meets the eye. But guys, here's my negatives when it comes to it, because I do feel like those are most of the negatives I'm talking about the show. Like, guys, if you're probably wondering what type of negatives are mostly, because are the negatives in the 2010 movie more worse than the Netflix? I have to find that out when we get to each episode of the season for Netflix. Because my negatives are this about the movie. One of my biggest negatives I did not like about the 2010 movie was this, where you have General Zhao going to Ozai's place. He talks to Ozai, telling him that he went to the secret library and found a way to go to the Northern Water Tribe to kill the Moon Spirit, telling him information about this or that. Here's my problem. Why would you want to go to the Fire Lord's place? The Fire Lord that's operating the entire world of the Fire Nation, to tell him what you're going to do in the Northern Water Tribe. Why would you want to tell him that? Because you're just putting out dumb things about that there's no reason that you would go be a general to go to a prince's palace or whatever to tell him what you're going to do. I just didn't see that, because if you tell someone that, the prince is going to get all the credit and he's going to agree and tell you, do this. And when it's over, he's going to be credited for coming up with the moon spirit idea. That never happened in the cartoon film. I don't know why the movie went to that direction of Zhao telling Ozai about that. And the reason I'm talking about this is that, is Netflix going to do better? The thing is, guys, I haven't heard of information of who is going to be General Zhao in the Netflix movie, because I haven't found any information of who's going to be Zhao, because he's the most important character of season 1 and the entire movie. So why is there no information of Netflix talking about him? That's a problem. And I want to know when we get to the moon spirit, because there's still dumb moments about that movie where you have Princess Iroh looking at Zhao. He has the moon spirit, and Iroh is just feet away from him, telling him not to do it. And when he does it, he just yells out a huge no. It doesn't make sense. It's stupid. It's one of the stupidest funny scenes, and I just thought to myself, laughing my butt off, thinking, come on, Iroh. You were right next to him the whole damn time. You were right next to him the whole damn time. You should have stopped him. It's just so stupid. It's like the whole sequence of that was the hugest negative, and it was just one thing I didn't like about the movie. Like, ignore the editings or the effects of the horrible earthbending or the waterbending or the earthbending. Ignore all that. That right there was one of my least favorites. I just didn't like that scene. I hate it a lot more than the bending of the aspects of the movie itself. It really was. Yes, ignore the time when you have Aang going to an Earth Kingdom or someplace with all Earthbenders surrounded by dirt for some hilarious reason, and they're doing the reenactment of Katara being an Earthbender, and she goes arrested and goes to a prison, ocean or somewheres to see a bunch of Earthbenders being trapped by steel and they couldn't bend nothing. That was the whole point about that scene, is that no one could bend. But in the movie, they're surrounded by dirt. Yeah, and you even have 5 or 6 guys lifting one tiny rock. Yeah, at least the person that aimed it hit someone, but still a funny scene. But when you ignore that, it was a huge problem that they were just not... It was bad. But guys, you know what made the movie horrible? Is that they never had cuts. If you're working on a movie and you have the cameraman controlling every single action one at a time without no cuts... or no cuts, like you have a person fighting, you have Aang attacking someone, swishing that, and then it cuts to Sokka probably using his boomerang and hitting someone in the balls or something. You never got any of those action scenes in the movie. It was only one cameraman moving this way, seeing what's out of there. Look at that over here. Oh, look at me. I'm talking right now while everything's going on. Then the cameraman leaves while I'm done talking, and then he just... When you see all that, that was a real headache, because you can't even see what's going on everywhere because it has one cameraman operating everything. I just hope the Netflix doesn't do that. And it doesn't seem like they're going to do that. I just hope not, because the stuff and when you're recording a movie, there are times that those camera angles where you have one cameraman operating the entire room could work, but not working when you're in the middle of a battle. That they did that for the entire film, actually. And guys, I'm only going to talk about some of the negatives, but I only have a couple minutes left here. But you want to know what the crazy thing is? Where you have Ozai coming out of nowhere saying that Susan's Common is going to begin in 3 years, which in the cartoon film, it's going to begin in the summer. Well, at least Avatar Aang and his friends have all the time they can do to practice bending. Hey, if that's going to make them win the war, then hey, why not? Yet again, we'll never know, because the second movie never came out. And to be honest, guys, there's going to be a lot of other negatives I'm going to talk about, but yet again, that's only some of it. But yet again, guys, the problem is, guys, making a movie or somewhat of a 40-minute, 8-minute episodes of a 20 episodes, one season of a cartoon show is really hard when you have to put other perspectives, because you don't have to go to other locations, but yet again, improvising so much of these things that bring in Ozai in the picture in season 1 of this, just like they did in the movie, because we never get to see him. Hell, I actually liked the trailer when they had when Iroh was talking to the group about how Zuko had a scar, and he told him that it didn't happen in an accident, and Ozai and Zuko's trying to beg his father not he's sorry, and then he burns his eye. They didn't show that in a cartoon, but when they showed it in the trailer and seeing so much of that fire in his eye burning, that got my attention. Like, it goes to show you that you know what Netflix is trying to do. They're trying to show you the stuff that was never shown in the movie or in the cartoon. That I liked. But some of that stuff won't work. And I think that's something Netflix has to be careful of. Because if they keep doing this and improvising stuff that might not work, just like anything else, I don't know. I gotta watch more of the episode 1, but I will come back until episode 2, 3, or 4 are released. I feel like taking a break But for now, guys, we just have to find out and see what happens. But yet again, guys, there will be more information negatives I want to talk about when episode 2, 3, or 4 comes out, and then the rest of the movie, because there's a little bit of other information I'm really shocked. But we'll do that next time. Foxwolf out.